All right, everyone. Link in the description, archived, of course. We have to talk about Zelensky. Now, of course, some of you are very pro-Ukraine, so you may not enjoy this video, but hear me out. The legacy media, for years in the wake of Zelensky's rise, continued to talk about the corruption of the Ukrainian government. It wasn't until Russia invaded that all of a sudden that chatter disappeared almost entirely and everyone started flying the Ukrainian flag on their Twitter profile and all sorts of stuff like that. Is Russia a corrupt state? Yes. Vladimir Putin is the head of what effectively is an oligarchy. This is the way that Russia has operated since long before, by the way, the Soviet period. It's just part of the political culture that's there. I am not saying that Putin is a good person or that he would be trustworthy with a dagger and you were going down the stairs in front of him and stuff like that. If you criticize the strongman in some countries in the world, you tend to end up mutilated or shot or something like that. That being said, the fact that the Russian state has a corruption issue does not mean that Ukraine doesn't have exactly the same thing. More recently, Zelensky was trying to politically absorb the Anti-Corruption Bureau in Ukraine. He then faced considerable protests against it. It's not like the Maidan protests or anything like that, but they were large enough so that he took note and decided to reverse course completely. He did a 180 on this. Oh, no, I guess that the corruption prosecution should remain independent. He was trying to absorb more power centrally to become more authoritarian. And this is always what happens. The idea is, well, we have Russian dissidents and disinformation and stuff. We need to do more. So these offices, in order to expedite these cases, are going to simply be absorbed, streamlined, as it were. It was a think of the kids moment. We've seen this in the United States multiple times, like with the Patriot Act. Basically, the population is in danger, therefore give government more power. Now, I would point out a long-standing truth. The biggest danger to you is your own government. The biggest danger to you isn't some terrorist sitting out in a sand dune in North Africa. It's not some dictator in a foreign country 4,000 miles away in Laos or something like that. It's not a foreign power wielding nuclear weapons. The idea of a nuclear war is always very, very distant. It can happen, of course. It's possible. Long term, I think that it will end up happening, assuming nature doesn't preempt us all and knock us back to the Stone Age so that we're like, ooh, look at shiny object. And then Grug hits it with a hammer and it blows up and then the whole tribe is gone. Um, those aren't the biggest threats to you. The two biggest threats to you: disease and, attendant things, health-related stuff, biowarfare, and so forth. We've seen the effects of that fairly recently. And your own government. Pointing out, of course, in the case of the United States, that our own government was directly involved with certain things that happened a few years ago that were, catastrophic to our economy. Just pointing that out. The U.S. government was invested in a level 4 biolab. I won't name which one for YouTube's TOS purposes on medical disinformation, supposedly. Although I would note that the WHO and CDC agree with me at this point, belatedly. Your own government is mainly because your own government can legalize its tyranny. Your own government is the only one that's capable of persecuting you directly. Yeah, I mean, occasionally you get like a foreign assassin or something like that, but most of us probably aren't actually going to have to fend off some jujitsu assassin from Russia. It's probably not going to happen. But your own government can drag you into the gulag, deprive you of your rights, run you through the ringer, make you bankrupt, and abuse you in general. And it can make it legal to do so because it has the force of arms, the police, the military, etc. So your own government is really the danger. In Ukraine, for example, I have a feeling that a considerable number of people who have done absolutely nothing wrong, other than maybe they criticize Zelensky or something, are sitting there getting prison borscht at the moment. The same is true on the other side in Russia. We've seen this. The legacy media only portrayed one side of the story. They showed you, for example, that Russia cracked down on the free speech of the Russian Orthodox Church and started conscripting people. Ukraine did the same thing. They effectively outlawed the Russian branch of the Orthodox Church and began conscripting people. The two are identical. Only the fact that your government and the legacy media told you that one side was better than the other. And the legacy media quickly scrubbing articles that it had penned against Ukraine and Zelensky and the corruption there for some time. Only that convinced the majority of the public that it was a good idea to back Ukraine. It was a shock campaign more than anything else. It was PR for Zelensky. And that's because he was our boy. That's the only reason arms dealers love this situation because they get to sell all sorts of fun weapons to the US government, which then gives it to Ukraine. It's a workaround because technically speaking, we're not supposed to be giving them any form of logistic aid because they're not part of NATO. Now, again, I like the Ukrainian people. I've met plenty of them. I've had Ukraine very close friends that are from Ukraine originally. And, I find the culture nice and I like the food and it seems fun. I would love to visit Ukraine. Absolutely. I'd love to see the sunflower fields, which now are probably pockmarked with landmines, but, if you can step around them, then you can sniff the flowers, I suppose. That being said, though, the Ukrainian government is corrupt, and this was openly acknowledged by the United States press and by the Western press in general for an extended period of time. It was always known that this was the fact. But now Russia invades, and Putin connected with its point and grunt logic. Orange man bad. Orange man connected with Putin. Ergo, men who fight Putin good. It's literally no more complex than that. It's caveman logic. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with caveman logic in some of these cases. You don't have to support Ukraine in order to oppose Russia. You can just say both regimes are corrupt and, to varying degrees at any given time, and war is bad. I don't need to take a fucking side. There's no reason to. Just wish the fighting would end because I would love to visit both countries. It would be great. That's about all. Peace out.